What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty from Ty Drives, and this sitting in front of us is the 2023 Cadillac XT4. This one is in the luxury trim, and it is pretty stripped out of options. So the only option we have on this particular vehicle is that full panoramic sunroof. So we'll get a good idea on what the most basic XT4 looks like. Now we do have a pretty cool color combination going on here. We have the latte metallic on the outside and the light platinum interior. Now, throughout this video, we're going to be discussing all the features this vehicle has to offer, starting out on the exterior. We'll then work our way under the hood and see what powers the XT4, and then we'll get into the trunk area. We'll pop it open, see how much room we have back there, and then we'll get into the interior, starting with the rear seats and making our way towards the front seats. But you're going to want to make sure to stay tuned to the end of the video, because we're going to take this XT4 out for a little test drive and see how it is out on the road. But first things first, let's check out the headlamps. So for both the high and low beams, we have an LED bulb, and then we also have LED daytime running lights, and our turn signals round everything off down at the bottom. And we can see the beautiful metallic work in that latte color. Nice chrome accents surrounding and inside of the grille with the beautiful Cadillac crest, and all real openings for the air intake. Up on the hood, we have a nice short hood, and we have some pretty cool creases that go towards the center. And these are our standard wheels for the XT4. Very classy looking 18-inch painted silver wheels. And in case you're wondering, the tires measure up at 235/60. We do have some nice black cladding that surrounds the wheels and goes down to the bottom of the doors to protect your beautiful paint. Lots of bright work on this vehicle too, surrounding the windows and up on our side rails up top. And as you can see up top, we have the panoramic sunroof. Switching around, you can see that blind spot warning is standard, and you have a little symbol for that right on the mirror. Also standard is the keyless entry system. So you have the push button right here on both the front and the rear door handles to lock and unlock the vehicle. Quick look at the window sticker. We do have the only option of the sunroof, as well as the paint color. It's a little bit of an extra cost option. And this particular car, even though we're up in the Northeast, is front wheel drive. Of course, all-wheel drive is available. And this particular car, stickers for $39,815. We have a nice spoiler back here, and up top the shark fin antenna, and a pretty nice design for the rear tail lamps. They are completely LED powered for your brake lights, tail lights, and the turn signals. Looks very nice, all illuminated. We have a few badging back here. The XT4 on the driver's side, and on the passenger side we have the 350T, which is our powertrain badging. And we also have rear parking sensors, some nice exposed exhaust tips for that 2-liter turbo. And right under the Cadillac crest, we have the electronic trunk release and the reversing camera. Very nice clean design back here, because we have a hidden wiper. So the wiper is kind of out of sight, out of mind, and we have a nice clean design. Now the XT4 has been out for a little while, but I think this still looks like a pretty darn good looking vehicle. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. So, popping the hood reveals a single engine choice for the Cadillac CT4. It is a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4. It produces 235 horsepower, 258 pounds-feet of torque for the XT4. Now, everything comes hooked up to a 9-speed automatic transmission, and regardless of trim level, you can choose between front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Lots and lots of sound deadening under here too, to keep that unwanted engine noise out. And we have the nice turbo script on the top of the engine cover. Now I'm pretty happy to tell you that every single XT4 will have a fully powered trunk lid. Take a look at that. Regardless of trim level, obviously we have the most basic one here, and this has it. But nicely illuminated back here too, with lights on either side, and a pretty good amount of space once you get inside. Now you do have hooks and anchors on all 4 corners of the trunk, and you can see that the rear seats split at a 60-40 fashion. Underneath the cargo floor, we have quite a bit of hidden storage and your spare wheel under there as well. And you can also install a privacy shade if you'd like. You also have little storage extensions to either side as well. Now, if you're feeling strong, you can close the lid down with your hands, or you could choose the easy route like me and just tap the button. Alrighty, let's take a look at the rear cabin. You could already see that beautiful light platinum color. Now, this particular car does have leatherette seating surfaces, but you can upgrade to leather for a small fee, of course. We do have some pretty nice contrasting stitching up here where it's nice and soft to the touch. Even down here with a pretty cool pattern, and you have a pretty neat sort of blue or purple colored trim on the rear, as well as up front too. Some subtle metallic accents as well. We do have a little pocket back here to store whatever you need, and a standard 7-speaker audio system. Of course, an upgraded 13-speaker Bose system is available. You can see up top we have the nice panoramic roof with the shade covering it at the moment, and very nice attention to detail to these most basic seats. So we have stitching on the outside, on the backrest as well, and some pretty nice looking headrests that you can actually fold down to get extra visibility. And we also have a little Cadillac chevron right on the backrest. Right here you could fold the seats down completely flat for a sort of maximum cargo mode, and you can also fold down the rear armrest with a couple of cup holders. Now, of course, this is Cadillac's smallest SUV, so let's see how it does in the rear with the amount of room. So I am about 5'10", and I adjusted the front seat to a normal driving position for myself, and take a look at that. I still have a couple of inches of legroom back here, so definitely doable. To have at least 4 people back here. You can fit 5, maybe a smaller person for shorter journeys, but it's definitely doable. We have air vents back here, as well as a USB and USB-C charger, and a pretty flat floor down here. You have a little bit of a drivetrain hump, but not too bad. You do have lighting, grab handles, and coat hooks back here. And the panoramic sunroof is pretty large, as you can see, in conjunction with the rear headrest. Okay, so now the main event, the driver's seat. Same very nice materials as out back, you know, the soft touch over here, the leatherette armrest, the stitching. A few more buttons going on over here. So right next to the door handles you have the lock unlock buttons, of course the window controls and mirror adjustments with the rear window lockout for those kids. A little bit larger of a storage area over here, and a speaker on the door. And one additional button is the control for the power lift gate. So you can actually adjust it to open a maximum way, a 3/4 way if you have a low garage or you're in parking garages a lot, or just turn the power function off if you'd like. We have a nice stainless steel sill right here once you enter. We have some more of that pretty cool colored trim, some air vents and bright work, as well as your electronic parking brake. You just tap in to deactivate and activate, as well as a physical gauge dimmer. Down here we have our hood release up under the dashboard and our nice pedals, and we also can see the release for the tilt telescoping steering wheel. So here's the key for the XT4, pretty traditional Cadillac key with the crest on the backside, and our unlock, lock, remote start, trunk release, and the panic alarm buttons on the other side. We also have this little button to slide out a physical key in case you need it. But of course we do have push button start right over here behind the steering wheel. And speaking of the steering wheel, it is very nicely leather wrapped, and we also have paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel to shift manually if you'd like. Right over here we have all the buttons to control the central screen and in between the gauges. Also you have your up down for the volume control and up down for the your radio presets. Right over here we have all of our cruise control settings, as well as Bluetooth telephone controls and voice commands, and we also have the ability to lessen or greaten your distance warning. Up here on the top of the dash, it is nice, soft to the touch, and we have some pretty cool stitching going down. And behind the steering wheel, over here, we have our front and rear wipers. And on the opposite side, we have all of our lighting controls, which of course is automatic, and our turn signals. And that brings me to our gauges. Very nice, classy set of analog and digital gauges. So we have our analog tachometer and speedometer to both sides. We also have our fuel gauge right over here and our coolant temperature right over here. Now, to customize the screen in here, of course, we just use this roller knob and the back and forth to get different information. So it'll start off with the trip information, you know, trip A, trip B, and then we have a fuel range, oil life, tire pressures, average and current fuel economy, a blank page, and then you can also get some more info. Scrolling back and forth, you can also see your radio, what's going on there, any navigation, phone, and all of your different settings that you can go through. So, pretty nice little screen there. I think we're going to leave it up on our fuel range just so we know for now. And taking a look over here is our touchscreen. Right above it, we have a couple of air vents. Of course, this car is in the demonstration mode, but I will show you most of the functionalities of this screen. So, first of all, we have some shortcuts down at the bottom with a little home button and our actual home button right down here. We have the exterior temperature and time down here too. Taking a look at our audio screen, we have all of our sources to the driver's side and all of our presets up top and what's playing right over here. And you can also adjust your sound settings. You have a phone screen, your Wi-Fi information, and you can also set up different users. So say your wife and you both drive this car, but you have completely different preferences, much like my significant other. So you can actually set up your own preferences and theirs so that when they get in the car, it's completely customized to their own likings. Taking a look over here, we can scroll down and see all of our different options. Of course, you can pause the video to see all of these. Lots and lots of different things that you can customize while you're in here. We have the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, of course, and all of your different apps that you can download. And over here, we have our OnStar services, the climate menu right here. So we do have redundant physical controls right below, but it is nice to see that you have options so you can customize it through the screen. You have both of your temperatures either side, fan speed in the center, where you want the air to blow, and all of your different AC settings right on the bottom. We also have a dedicated SiriusXM app and your My Cadillac app as well. If we go all the way over, it gives you a pretty cool combination of the radio and your phone screen, as well as what the climate control is doing at the bottom and your presets up top. Taking a look down here is, of course, our nice array of physical climate control buttons. Working from left to right, we have the on-off automatic function, all of your where you want the air to blow. We have our temperatures to either side and fan speed right in the center. AC controls, sync, and your two front and rear defrosters. Right below that, we have a small array of buttons right here to turn on and off your rear parking sensors and also for hazards. We have a nice little storage cubby right over here, which you can slide back. It kind of locks into place. It's all felt lined in there, so whatever you put in there will stay protected. And we also have your USB-C, USB, and 12-volt power outlet in there. We have the electronic gear selector for the 9-speed automatic. You can pull it straight down into drive. And then down once more to a manual mode. And we can go straight up for reverse, which will, of course, activate your reversing camera with guidance lines. And then we have a P up top for park. Right down below the shifter, we have a volume knob with a back and forth for your presets, and also some shortcuts for your touchscreen up there. So it's nice that they give you an option to control the touchscreen with actual buttons if you'd like, as well as the rotary knob. Right over here, we can turn on and off your traction control and auto start stop if you'd like. And we also have our mode selector. We have 3 different driving modes. Of course, Tour, Sport, and Snow and Ice. Of course, that will adjust your throttle response and things like that accordingly. And we also have 2 different cup holders right there. Nice soft to the touch armrest, which you could pick up, and it is pretty large. We can remove this tray if you'd like, and again, lots of storage in there with a 12-volt power outlet, and we also have a nice little place to store your phone. Passenger area has a nice little design with that cool trim and some stitching. We have a lockable glove box over here as well, which is pretty large. That is actually the front plate bracket for the vehicle, so just to give you a little idea on how big it is. Up here we of course have some sunglass storage. We have all LED interior lights. We have 1, 2, 3 for your garage door openers, and separate controls for both the sunshade and the sunroof sliding and tilting function. So take a look at that. It will kind of open. You have 2 separate panes of glass. The front pane will open with the opposite button, and the rear pane is fixed, but very nice once it's opened up. Lets lots of light in and whatnot. We have some more lighting controls up here, and as well as your OnStar and SOS buttons. Nice frameless mirror, and you can kind of pull the tab to dim it. And one last thing we cannot forget about the sun visors. Once you fold them down, you have a mirror and light. You can also fold them to the side and extend them for light blinding you on the other side. But that pretty much does it for the features of the XT4. I hope you found this segment of the video helpful, and make sure you stay tuned next for the point of view driving. Alright, so here we are driving the XT4. So I really have not had a lot of time behind the wheel of an XT4, so this will kind of be a good first impression for me as well, so that I can convey all of my thoughts to you guys before you head out to the Cadillac dealership and test drive an XT4 that you're interested in. But a little bit of an overview of the test drive. We're going to take it around in these nice hilly areas of Connecticut, and we'll get a feel for that around all the hills and kind of a neighborhood area. Then we'll get a nice acceleration test, so it's nice and warmed up. The coolant temperature is at operating temperature, and we'll get a brief acceleration, kind of mimic a highway on-ramp, so you want to get on the highway pretty quick. We'll kind of floor the car, put the pedal to the metal, so to say, and we'll see how fast it gets from 25 miles an hour up to 60. Now I'm expecting a little bit of wheel spin, because this is a front wheel drive only. We have lots of torque, so we'll see how it grips up too. We'll then get it out on a nice straight road, you know, get it up to almost highway speed so we can get a good view of the sound insulation this car has. And finally, we'll take it up a rough road with lots of road imperfections, and we'll get a good suspension test. So by the end of this video, you'll be pretty good, in pretty good shape and briefed up on the XT4. And at this point, we'll test out the acceleration test once we get this link in some room. So we are at 25, and we're simply just going to floor the throttle and see what happens. So it does have just enough power to put a little smile on your face. The 9-speed automatic reacted very nice and quick, getting us into the power band. The turbocharger spooled up equally as quick, and we were away with ease. There's a slight bit of wheel spin, really no torque steer at all, and we were away with confidence. So pretty impressive acceleration with this XT4. You know, of course, a smaller SUV with a pretty high amount of power like this has, you know, 235 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, just to remind you. And this is a smaller SUV, so it gets going pretty darn good. And also very quiet too, so I pointed out all of the noise insulation under the hood, and that definitely does wonders for keeping the noise of the engine out of the cabin. Now, initial impressions on this vehicle, lots of cars in this segment, namely the Audi Q3, Volvo XC40, you know, BMW X1, things of that nature. They are, of course, all premium luxury brands. Unfortunately, some of them don't really live up to, you know, that saying of, okay, it drives like an Audi, or okay, it drives like a Volvo. You know, some of those competitors don't drive like their nicer counterparts in their lineup. But I can say that this XT4 still drives like any other Cadillac that I've driven. It's got a very smooth ride. You know, the brakes feel very nice. The steering has got a pretty decent weight to it. Actually, the steering wheel actually is very comfortable to grip where I am right now. And the seats are extremely comfortable too. So that is a good thing to point out. Now we're going to test out the turning circle too at this red light. Yeah, it's a pretty sharp corner, so we'll get a good idea on the turning radius for the XT4. Now, being that it is a small crossover, of course, it's pretty maneuverable. So if you're in and out of the city, or maybe you even live in a city, this will be a pretty good choice for you. Yeah, so it takes the corners very nice. Good turning circle on this car. Alright, so this is the nice main road that I was talking about a little bit earlier, so we'll hopefully get it up to speeds of about 50 miles an hour. And up at these speeds, you know, a Cadillac is a Cadillac, and it has to be quiet, and that it is. There's slightly a bit more road noise, of course, up at higher speeds. Virtually no wind noise at all. It's actually a pretty windy day today. I'm sure you've heard a little bit of wind in the video previously, but yeah, this actually does a very nice job of keeping the outside noise out of the cabin. Now, on slight acceleration, I've just been noticing here, it does keep the RPMs up nice and high in case you really needed to punch that throttle. You know, it'll keep the car in the power band so that you don't have to switch up the gears and whatnot to get going faster. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so let's take this right turn here onto our suspension torture test. This road is pretty rough and neglected. You'll see lots of patchwork, lots of manhole covers, and we're going to hit it all to see what the suspension feels like. And the Cadillac does a really nice job of soaking up all the bumps. It is very, very comfortable setup for the suspension. And with that being said, I think as of now, you get a pretty good idea on the 2023 Cadillac XT4. I thank each and every one of you for watching the video, and I hope you stay with us here at Ty Drives for more videos just like this one in the future.